with 5 of us present, 1 on Zoom, Dr. Needham, and 1 absent, Mr. Rank. Okay. Let us stand for the invocation, please. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for every single opportunity that comes our way to help the children of this district. Lord, as you know, we are faced with lots of questions that we're hoping to get some answers to. Father, we just ask that you be with everyone who is trying to work out solutions to everything that has to happen for summer school, for starting the new year, just for helping us be as normal as possible. And Father, we ask that you let us be cognizant of your hand in everything we do, and that we seek your will in the decisions that we make. In Jesus' name. Okay, and now for what? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I protect this flag. I pledge allegiance to Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. I'll ask anyway, sir, do we have any presentations?
No, unfortunately. We're going to have a backlog.
And what about audience comments?
Nobody is in the comments.
Okay, thank you. Audience members who may be listening, you can access the board packet online under Board of Trustees. If you go to the web page, and then there you will find the agendas listed. We will move on to reports. Reports listed on the agenda considered routine in nature will not be discussed unless requested by a board member. The board has had the information with sufficient time prior to the board meeting to ask the superintendent staff questions. This includes summary of finance reports and the update on capital construction projects. Are there any questions from the board? Okay. Okay. That being said, we'll move on to reports for presentations. 9A, update on bond project.
There's a small estimate of what we're doing on during recommendations. I will say there's another body, there was I think an installation that was, I don't know how installation all there was improper installation to fix that. Some of the studs were being installed there. Really, I think it was shut down. That's not the film. And one of them. There was a time where they would get done by time full start, you know. That's not a problem. It's all done.
Good. And they pay while the sun shines. Believe it. My chair does keep on.
You want to trade it out?
I don't know. My name is
Larry behind you.
I'm sorry. Just keep. Or wait. Thank you, Mr. Morgan. I appreciate that. All right. Any questions or comments from the board on the bond project? Okay. Let's move on to the finance update and the 2020-2021 review of preliminary property values in the budget calendar.
This one not early. So I have to say, we'll take
Yes, the
We emailed them. If I can work my device. So it's basically not just a budget update, but a COVID and a finance and a budget update. And finance is all about the numbers, but we have all the numbers. There's House Bill 3, we're still program compliant, and what the final numbers are going to be for this year, much less next year. And then we have COVID-19, and red, blue, and orange sheets that are coming out of PDA. And then they're manufacturing with changes and guidance constantly. Okay, so the first question is what additional funding is out there for COVID-19? And they rolled out FEMA and said, oh yeah, school supply, you've got this. Well, basically you've got FEMA if you stood up a hospital in your school facilities. You know, they'll do school cleaning, but only if you're doing it under direct guidance of the CDC, you know, and we were closed. So we're still pursuing the FEMA, but I doubt that we will end up with much reimbursement from FEMA. So then they all get excited about the CARES Act and the ESSER. They're calling it the Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief Fund. And they're thrown out there, our allotment is $781,000. However, they will directly reduce our FSP from 1920 by 95% of that entitlement. So it's not new money. They're going to allow us to keep 5%, but it is earmarked to provide compensatory services to the private nonprofits in our schools. We have to apply for it. They're taking the money out of our FSP, and we have to submit an application to get it back through that. And that application will be available in June. The funds will be available from May 15th of 20 to September 30th of 2022. But again, we lose the revenue this year. So the bottom line is that we could technically take a hit to our rainy day fund for that cut and then get it back in the future through this ESSER grant. And finally, the first training I've been to on it with TASBO said that we should not look at this as supplemental, not plan for supplemental expenditures. It's really part of your FSP entitlement. And so you don't want to put a bunch of supplemental initiatives in there with this funding. So then we have the next bucket. The next bucket is Coronavirus Relief Fund. Now the Coronavirus Relief Fund is available from March 1st to May 20th. They cut it off the day before they released it, so you couldn't do anything. It might qualify. So it's all, you know, cut off before it was announced. So it's a very narrow window. It has a pretty generous allotment at $250 for economically disadvantaged students, which can get us over $600,000, but we didn't spend $600,000 from March 1st to May 20th. We have some costs that I think will meet the requirements, maybe some of our premium pay, some cleaning supplies, some, you know, just some general supplies, but it's not going to be that impactful. And that is, and this is another application in July for these funds. So, moving on to this year, our enrollment. We started out we were going to be held harmless. So they took our fourth 6 weeks ADA of 5390, and then they applied the historical decline from the prior year, which brings us down to 5355. That's 47 below where we budgeted. Not terribly tragic, but not where you want it to be. But now what they're going to do is knock down our ADA by enough students to make that offset of the ESSER funds. So they're going to figure out how much they're giving us for each student and just knock them down until they get back to that 95% of the 781. And needless to say, Omar has to change the template. So we're waiting to get calculations on all of that. I started with a much more detailed approach to this until they pulled the rug out, because we've got to do a lot more analysis to see where that lands us. So overall on our revenues, we expect to have losses. They're not holding us harmless for transportation. We did not drive our buses for 1/3 of the year. Our transportation allotment is roughly 400, well over 400,000. So that's over 100,000 we lose, close to 150. We don't have rentals from the facilities. We're not, we charter our buses in the summer, and none of those revenue sources are coming in, obviously, and none during the closure. And we're not having summer school tuition at the high school. We're not, and we have had a reduction in our SHAR services. A substantial part of our SHAR services involve transportation. And if you're not, we get paid for transporting a child to school and providing a service. Well, if we're not transporting, we're not getting that reimbursement. And if we're not in a classroom providing personal care services, we're not getting billable service there either. And then not all other SHAR services they were able to bill and distribute or provide online. So we're going to have a reduction in income there. We do have some savings. We didn't pay substitutes for a third of the year. We didn't pay temporary employees like off-duty police officers and some of those things. We didn't have overtime, and we have some reduction in utilities and supplies. We have some wins, some losses, and then the ESSER loss is the cherry on top. So I don't know. We'll have some better numbers, in our next budget workshop. So fund balance, we ended last year with $18,992,750. We've approved capital projects just shy of $2 million. So right now that fund balance sits at $17 million. The optimum fund balance is still around $12,500,000. So we're still healthy, but I expect it to take more hits. We support the print shop a little bit each year, but their revenues of providing support to the campuses aren't there for the third of the year. So we're not, and the spirit shop isn't selling in the, so we will have to probably transfer a little more money in for the print shop due to the closure. Food service, I'll address in the next slide. Self-insured health fund, I think we made in the year okay because nobody's going to the doctor. Nobody's having optional, surgeries, so those funds those claims haven't had a big uptick. So at this point, that could change if things doesn't back up. And we did in our health fund adopt to cover COVID care and COVID testing, which is kind of standard what the industry did. So our employees have had that available to them, which was the right thing to do in circumstance. And the bond overrun, the high school project came in a little bit lower, and the remaining projects, like the renovation at FBISD, may not happen, and some renovation at UP, so we may not have to support the bond project quite as much. We'll visit that later this summer on where we're at. And child nutrition, potential loss of $500,000. I do all the numbers and I think why? They didn't have 3 months of revenue, which is $700,000. We bought $200,000 less food, so we get pretty close to that. So somewhere there's grant money going to USDA. There's, we can apply some of this, we think, to the ESSER, but we don't know how yet. They've got to throw the details. So, but if ESSER comes out of your general fund essentially, and you apply what you would need to get to food service, you're still out of your general fund. That would probably be a hit. We've been operating the summer program. We're going from the grab and go straight into summer program June 1st, and we're going to do 30 days, which is the legal requirement on June 30th, and then we're going to stop for the summer. They've come out with several programs for SNAP. You've probably seen some of the press releases and things where families are getting some direct help. So we felt that was the right decision to do, and we don't know what a budget will look like next year. If we operate grab and go, if we operate meals in the classroom, if we're 50-50-25, it's a question mark as to how we operate food service. We do legally have to provide lunch, breakfast and lunch for the free and reduced kids. So we will be accommodating somehow. And I would say through this closure, USDA and TDA, I won't put it in difficult, but they've been a lot slower to give us the waiver and say we can serve this way. You can serve this way, you can do this, because the school nutrition lunch rules are so rigid. There isn't a grab and go. You know, you think if you do a half school, then you send them a sack lunch on the way out the door. Well, it's not allowed in the child nutrition program because lunch has to be fed in person. It can't be taken off the site. So it would take waivers to make all these accommodations, which makes it a lot harder to know what it's going to look like. Because the grab and go reimbursements we got are not near what the child nutrition lunch program, school lunch program gives you. The summer feeding program, we get less than $50,000 a month in summer. That's our wonderful food service news. So our tax rate with House Bill 3, TEA is telling us what our tax rate is. The preliminary compression for the state level is 0.9164, and that's down from 93 cents. We taxed at 97, which was the compressed rate of 93 plus our 4 pennies. So this year we have the 0.9164. Our voter approved pennies of 4 cents gets put on top of that, and then they've given us the flexibility for the board to unanimously approve an additional 1 cent. So if we adopt that 1 cent, we'll be at a rate slightly below last year's tax rate. And in part of this, what they did at the state level in school finance is they gave tax relief to the taxpayers by compressing our rate, and they up the financing that they're providing us. They took on a bigger bite of supporting the school finance. But our overall income for this coming year is the same SST rate as it was last year. And so they've compressed the tax rate. They'll make it up and hold us harmless at the same income level we have this year. But anyway, you slice it, it's a fixed income diet, which is one of the bills in House Bill 3 they didn't fix. There is no new money. So we will, in the budget process, talk about the 1 cent and what that means to our funding next year. I have the property values on the next slide, and this is the net taxable preliminary number from Ron Canals, which can change substantially. The 1920 is our certified appraisal roll, and so right now it looks like about a little less than 2% increase over the certified from last year. Our frozen levy grew again. It went up 0.75%. So again, our population is aging, our tax base is increasing. So it's not a new story. We've been talking about it for a number of years. The tax compression is based on a state average property growth of 4%. So we will not have any further compression because we didn't grow beyond 4%. Had we grown at 10%, our tax rate would compress further. So brings us to our budget process. We'll look at the screen because that is no longer our budget process.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's how we have done it. Right.
Yeah, we have significantly impacted by all the uncertainty at this moment. Closed campuses and distance learning are making it difficult for us to collaborate with the campuses and plan and focus on that. we don't know how we're gonna operate next year. You know, what do we look like? Are we doing a 50-50? Or are we having to buy a whole bunch of equipment to protect students and teachers? We just don't know what it looks like. How is our enrollment going to be impacted by COVID-19? Are families relocating? You know, if they have lost jobs, are more people, you know, in love with homeschooling? There's a lot of uncertainty there. We don't know how we're going to socially distance our student population. Will PEA hold us harmless on attendance in another year, which they held us harmless at first, and then they're really not holding us harmless now. So I don't know what to expect in that level. Will we get full ADA for distance learning, or will there be new restrictions? You know, I doubt that we're going to operate on a closed but teaching status. Closed but learning is great. And are we going to need additional technology to support students?
Speaking of that, how are we getting all of our Chromebooks?
The campuses have scheduled drop-off days, and they have the students come in a pattern. I think they're almost done, aren't they?
Yeah, we didn't hear any yesterday.
Yeah, and they've done lockers, and
And if they don't return them, I mean, it's like textbook.
yeah. Can we hold the report card? Yeah. We haven't gotten any results on how it is. I think kids that have summer school maybe keeping theirs if they're going on to summer school. And so they're just getting in. We haven't had an inventory of them to see how many came back damaged, how many came back.
And then jobs,
Yeah.
Yeah, the damage, that was the other question.
Yeah. Yeah, and we haven't had any feedback yet. We're doing that over days. How will we transport, how will transportation operate in social distancing? Right now, we have to put them on every other row on opposite sides. So you get, 15 kids on school bus instead of 2 and 3 per seat. We're not sure what that's going to look like. I've seen people recommend you put, the sneeze guards between every seat, and who knows what it's going to have to look like. Will we have athletic and UIL competition? Should we restrict our student travel from a safety standpoint? Do we consider budget cuts to be proactive? And I believe fundraising is going to be greatly reduced. A lot of the campuses with the discretionary funds, the athletic groups, you're just not going to be able to get families that are struggling up for fundraising. So I think that's going to impact how we operate. So, the last part I have state update on the state budget perspective, because they've taken a bigger bite with the taxpayer relief. They're paying a greater portion of our funding. And so when you look at the state budget, the FSP accounts for 21% of the state generated revenue. It's 29% of the whole state budget, including federal revenue. So the two biggest parts of the state budget is us and Medicare. But the majority of the Medicare funding comes from federal, and the majority of our funding comes from the state. And so if we look back at what they did historically in the response to the budget shortfalls in 2010, 11, 2012, 13, I think they did a 5% and an additional 2.5%. They did significant cutting to K-12 education, and multiple state grant programs were cut. And that's how they responded in the past to these things. So it was really interesting to look at what they cut in the past, because it looks a lot like House Bill 3. There is math initiatives, there's mentoring, teacher mentoring programs. They went optional extended year there was on the chopping block. So there's a lot of similarities to what we're doing right now, as whether or not it's going to stay around. In the 12-13 biennium, they cut the pre-K grant and the reading readiness. They cut the API, and they cut more optional extended year programs. So, and this was a presentation on the state shortfalls. So if you look at the 2001 recession shortfalls, and then the next chart is the Great Recession from 9 to 13, and that's their COVID projection. So you hear, Dr. Friedman said, well, we have 2 years. They set our FSP. They set our FSP, but the forecast will tell you what potential is coming down the road as the state tries to cover. The first estimates I've seen that either rainy day fund, their rainy day fund will fall below $8 billion already in the shortfall. So,
Remind me what FSP is again, I'm sorry.
Foundation School Program.
Okay, thank you.
So, the ARA funding that the state gave us, which was during the 9 to 13 period, was $3.3 billion. CARES had given $1.2 billion. So we have potentially an even bigger shortfall coming without as much federal support. So this is our spending objects, and I just put it up there. If they told us to cut 5%, we could not buy a single supply and not get there. Because our budget is all salary. That is makes it difficult in our business. So my proposed calendar is 2 more workshops. We've done a special in the past, but because TA has to set our tax rate, it is not going to be ready early. We'll just do it at the regular board meeting. There's no reason to stop it early when we don't have the information. Yeah. No, the sunshine report's done. Questions?
It's kind of hard to follow up if I can see an arm for a second. I stood right, probably this direction right there back in January. And these could make the meeting to leadership academy, and that was not talked about full time. And I sat there and I talked to the chief did most of the presentation. I remember telling the county, I said, guys, all these things are great. House Bill 3 is provide this, provide that, provide this, provide that. But this is sustainable, even under perfect circumstances. This is not sustainable. An emergency will ruin it all. Oh, we're in climate emergency. You got to see the numbers. The spirit of the CARES Act was, in my estimation, and what I've read, was go in and help these schools, these agencies, these businesses in line to take care of things that we need to take care of. Think about I always talk about the ripple effects. I've said months now since years. We're going to have so many kids that have psychological issues, social and emotional issues. I'm going to talk about instruction. My question is, our state legislature, PA, I'm sure it's clear up here. Why do they take this money? Why do they take our money away? It's a plan. This money was designed to get through this. And they did the same thing. The reason I would joke around, I didn't think it was long. About a month and a half ago, I remember seeing all these college students. If you were in college, you got a direct deployment to your financial aid from Treasury. We as school districts, they let it hang up for about a month and a half. Longer there, and last Thursday afternoon, Commissioner Moran came out and released the amount. Oh, by the way, here's how this is going to work. You know what you want, it's joking. It's against the spirit of what got happened. So I'm highly disappointed in what that did. Of course, $1 million and we were joking around. We were in meetings last week. Oh, we are pretty scared of that. We don't know how much it's going to be. We can take care of that. We can hire some counsel. We can do this. We can do all these facility things we're going to have to do. We'll care that money. There's 5% of that And we have to hang on to that in case, not having the pocket. So that may or may not happen. Does that happen with our regular money release? The private nonprofits come in and get their entitlements all?
We have to give them their entitlement.
Do they ever come after it though? I mean, is it common not to be for them to,
It is,
on our title stuff, do they usually come after them?
I have to go and visit with them and see how they want to work with us on, educating students that go to their, but when I do this homework grant, that's right at the top.
Yeah.
It's taken out before we even get out.
Was sure that it takes, so we're not gonna get even the 5%, which I would take it, I'd take a quarter right now. So I'm disappointed in that. Set it right there in January, it's not sustainable. It was an emergency away from them. So ironic that you look at the things that were cut. I remember I was very superintendent when that happened. When we did with all of those, all those things that were taken away. House Bill 3 in some prior legislation the last few sessions have provided some things. But I can promise you, all those fun things that they mandated us to do, all these reading academies, all these teachers spending a lot on all the things that are going to be good for kids, they're gone. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I just, I don't know. It's going to be really, really rough. We won't talk about it in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years.
So one of the questions that was asked in the presentation was, should we be proactive? My opinion is yes. I mean, I think, and I don't know what that means, to your point, but I think we need to be thinking about, what a cut would look like, recognizing that 80+% of our dollars is spent in payroll. We need to visit that and see what we can do. And I'm kind of expecting, obviously, you guys to propose what those actions would be. And so I think everybody's going through this, whether it be in school districts or business or anywhere else. And so we're not insulated from it. And therefore, we're going to have to figure out how to cut and what percentage that needs to be. Could be significant, could be insignificant, but we've got to figure that out first. And then come back with the proposals of where we want to take it out, because we're not going to get by and skate through this. It's going to be something we're going to have to deal with. And we need to go ahead and be proactive. So that's my opinion. I think we need to go after it, figure out what it looks like. And then if we do have the extra dollars, so to speak, I don't need to be extra, but if we do, then we can back up. But it's hard to go further if you've already taken a bite of the apple. You don't want to take more and more bites. You want to go hard at it and then have all those listed out so that you can determine where you cut off and where you go further or where you go less. So that's my opinion, Louise. We need to figure it out. I know right now you don't have anything to figure out. I understand. So, but proactivity is actually the way it goes.
We've looked, before all this happened, we've looked really hard at staffing, ratios and all that. And that's something we've been working on since last July. We started sitting in the office there. So that's, when you look at it, she said, if you don't spend $1 on supplies, you're still not and it has to be enforcement. Right. Nobody wants to talk about that.
And I have to agree with Mr. Hooper. I'm the kind of person who wants a plan, even if the plan may fall apart later. But worst case scenario, that plan. And I know it's I don't even have to think about it. And it's laying in your lap. I mean, I don't even know what the question. There's no question to ask right now. We don't have all of the information, but I know you're going to work at it.
Yeah, well, with House Bill 3, they moved us to current year property values. So we will not have, probably won't even have a reasonable estimate of PQ value to rely on until July.
It's all guesswork.
It's all, and even more so than it has been in the past. And then some of our funding numbers from this year, they really won't know the real number until after. And some of the funding sources, like the CCRM, college and career readiness, military readiness bonus, well, we couldn't have it was funded, and so we can't measure any of that this year. So, there's no funding sources that are going to fall off because there's no measurement for them, so I don't know how they will report it. So there is a lot of them now. Yeah, but we'll start taking the stats of each of them and see where we are landing next year.
Thank you.
All right, the only saving grace is that Alvin very thorough districts.
Misery loves company, we're always. Okay, any other questions or comments? All right, consent agenda. All items under consent agenda considered to be routine by the Board of Trustees and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of items unless a board member so requests. Anybody want one of these removed or moved to discuss? The items are A, the approval of minutes of the regular meeting of April 30th, 2020 and special meeting of May 14th, 2020. Approval of budget change requests, approval of instruction materials allotment certification form 2020-2021, approval of communities and schools contract for 2021, approval of audit contract, approve revised transportation resolution regarding hazardous traffic conditions in high-risk and violence areas. Okay, that said, I will entertain a motion. Thank you, Mr. Morgan, and a second from Mr. Hooper. All in favor? There we go. Okay. We are moving on to item 11A, which is an action item. Consider ratification of COVID-19 related waivers, and somewhere we have paper.
Yeah, just a little thing back last month we talked about, you guys gave me the authority to go ahead and start working on these. We already approved the one for appraisals and CPR, and I told you that there's going to be more, and about every 5 to 8 days there's more. And in fact, there was another put in today. That last one, they're going to require some students to work there. The lawyers up in Austin are continuing to find things in code that require labor. Now, these are just the ones that require site-based board approvals. There's a whole other second page here I didn't share with you. About 16 more that we just signed off on at the school district. None of them are life-changing, but they were required for us to do. So, but I just want y'all to bless that list and probably the better part of my day on Tuesday and Wednesday is going to be submitting them all. We had to wait for the very first one, when this school day instruction come to the accreditation. We couldn't do that until the last day of school, like instruction. Today was the last day of 10th day of instruction. This was the last day of school. We should be speaking at graduation right now. That's how we count. That's where we should be right now. We'll get to that. We're going to make something good out of that. But these are the ones we need to approve. I'll get your blessing. I'll get on the system and approve them all. Hopefully we'll have any more. If we do, I'll come see you next month. And then waivers. But these were blessed this afternoon by site base. We had a 3 o'clock site base meeting for about 30 minutes. Like I said, let's do it. Then we talked about keeping up on if you have any questions, I've got all the information on the logic and the legal ramifications and the statutes of why we have to do it.
And on this motion, do we
you can, when I submit the TA, I have to have the board, just the agenda, I have to have minutes. So the agenda item is consider approval. I'm just going to send that.
So I'll make a motion that we ratify the list of waivers for board approval as of 5/28/2020 if you supply.
Second. Well, questions or comments? All in favor?
All right. Dr. You could hear me, so I'm glad you can hear us now. Good deal. I have a microphone issue again, so I didn't have a microphone. Now, along those same lines, this is kind of in the waiver zone. We put out a survey, and you guys have been informed about this. So it's kind of going to be a waiver, but it's kind of got to go through a little different process. But I wanted to kind of, not an action on it, but I just kind of wanted to bounce it off, and you guys can give me a thumbs up, and nudge, whatever you want to call it. I think pretty obvious what we do. State in all of this has given us unprecedented flexibility. They've never done this before. The logic is there. The research is there. You can find research on this for years saying that kids who go to school in somewhat of a year-round calendar can't do that academically. They realize so much why. Teachers are more refreshed, administrators are more refreshed. Get the 5 minutes on the get way. So we put out a survey, and your survey is faculty last week. I put it out Friday afternoon. So Ms. Dean put one out that evening, and we received some responses. And analytically, it's been an interesting way to tabulate this because it was a negative response question. So basically, I said, DA, give us this flexibility. Here's what it could look like. Tell me what you think. And using my heavily scientific qualitative analysis based on the three colors, yellow, pink, and green. I have 109, this is the faculty survey. 194 positives, yes, let's do it, all the way, no hesitation. We have 44 no's, don't want to do it, absolutely not. Yes, to consider your own. And then we have a lot of, I'm calling the fence riders or the neutrals. They're very specific to those. And those are people who say, well, it's a good idea, but it could be a bad idea. Or they say, no, there's not like there. Not necessarily negative, not positive, just in the middle. So they're around the fence. That's an overwhelming number. And so today at 1 o'clock, Ms. Steve, 1 o'clock, her survey ended. She had 932 submissions. 930, sorry. 930. That's what I counted on the spreadsheet. You got, what, 700 in the first day?
Oh, yeah.
She got a ton of those cases. And a lot of people have a lot of time on their hands. Yeah. So in hers, this is of the community, went out to the parents. We have 7094, 221 again. We didn't break that down to the fence riders. She was able to analytically look at it. She was using Google.
No, it's a plugin we have on the website that for.
It was easy for her to bring the data together. I had to actually go through 15 pages front back and okay. It was good reading. And a lot of people made some really great points. The big sticking point though, and I think we talked about it on the back end of the side base after we talked about the waivers. The big sticking point though is if we're going to pursue this, we want it for the long. We don't want to do it just for a year. We know all the good things that can happen from your own account. Things I mentioned a minute ago. The state's putting out there just for structural continuity. In case we get a big uptick in cases in the fall, they want us to be able to say, well, we've got some states built in, we can just continue on and not we can take this week off, this week gets week, and go school out. They're looking at it from that perspective. I'm looking at it from an instructional perspective, from a professional development perspective. Some of the questions I had from the teachers were, are we going to get paid for those days? Are we going to have to work more days? The answer is no. So they're not going to have to work more days once they want to, and they will get paid for the days that they choose to work. Those intersections in between, we're going to bring in the kids, because we've already decided we have 12 new kids this year. We're going to have some things to make. We can bring them in during those weeks. We can mediate them, enrich them. We can pay stipends instead of paying daily rates to our teachers. And we can ensure you spend money on state money. They don't take away from us. That's what money for. So, for all the reasons, the one thing that's kind of the sticking point is we're going to do it. We get to do it for forever. And I knew that would be a question because I saw that early on in the survey. So the last 3.5 days, all multiple offices, multiple people, and finally, today at about 2 o'clock, I got a human on the corner of PA. And I just kind of kept working down the tree, and I finally got somebody, young guy. I think he might have even been. I explained to him what we were looking at doing, and he didn't really know what I was talking about. He goes, sir, I'm in the transportation department. And he gave me an email to send, and I sent an email. So I don't have the answer, but I think with these numbers, even this raw data, without them knowing what the ramifications will be, I think we need to get our DOI, because if we're in district of innovation, which we are, it's a fast track process. If you're not in district innovation, you have to go through a longer process. But if we're going to do this, people are making plans, they've already made plans, not that they're traveling there, but I'm going to in July. So if we're going to do this, we need to get our DOI calendar committee together soon, as in early next week, and then at the latest have a special call meeting with you guys, because ultimately you guys come in day or night, ready to create. That being said, I think the data tells us the staff wants it, community wants it. We just have to find out if it's something that if it's a 1 year thing, I wouldn't even think about doing it because it's a total mindset change. Right. There's curricular issues, there's daycare issues, there's a lot of things. Although daycare will be okay, Boys and Girls Club will be able to provide services during those weeks within the session. So we can spell all that out to the public. Because I'm sure once we move forward with this, and people see that kind of thing, there will be because I had a lady email me this afternoon, she missed the deadline, and she sent me an opinionated email of what she thought good or bad. So, yes.
Could you just tell me a little bit about what that looks like? What would it look like? You're right, like
with our DOI, we this year for the first time forever, we're going to start second Thursday, no? August 13th. Right. So we've actually moved it back. It's been close to the last 2 years. It's been 4 months. Right. Tourism while we got some out. So year round, we'd bring it back even a few more weeks. You would start, the teachers would basically start probably the week after July 4th. They would come back for their professional development. The kids would start soon after, July 18th, 20th or so. They go for 6 weeks. They're off the week of Labor Day. They come back, they go for 6 weeks. They're off that second week in October. And coming from London, that was always a treasure for our families. They love that week because nobody's in Disney World, nobody's in Arizona, nobody's in California. It's a great time for vacation. That being said, the one thing that as a parent, that I didn't like about it, I thought it was great for younger kids, K through 8, because there is that flexibility. Those kids are ingrained in a lot of activities. For high school kids, they're involved in band, ROTC, and sports, and so it really doesn't mean a whole lot to them. They're still going to be at school times. So that's the one negative I would say about it. But you have the October date, and you come back, you get the week off at Thanksgiving. You come back for 2 weeks, you do 3 weeks at Christmas, and it's love that. Community love that. 3 weeks of Christmas is eternity. You come back in January when everyone else goes, you get a week off in mid-February. Come back, you get a week off during Easter, which everybody loves that. And you come back and you finish the week before Memorial Day, which everybody likes that. You usually graduate the Thursday or Friday night before, or Saturday before Memorial Day. When school's out. You get all of the month of June, and then it starts over again. So it's year-round, but it's not. When people hear year-round, they think, oh, 6-2, 6-2, 6-2. Some districts, the last district I taught in the coach team in Keller, we did 9-2. We did 9 weeks on, 2 weeks off, 9 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So we accelerated block. We had 4 periods a day for an hour and a half. That's a very costly way to do things. We have to have a lot of staff. You get some credit in it for free. It was great.
Thank you. So basically, this is kind of 6 weeks on, 1 week off, with the exception of Christmas. Is the only thing that
The Thanksgiving thing is a little. The Thanksgiving is broken up. It's 4 Thanksgivings and 2 Christmas. So it's actually you go about on the calendar. It's like now just ballpark a year. Every year there's a little variance, but But you always shoot for either the week before or the week of Labor Day, depending on when you start in July.
So, as far as water temperature goes here, I have no issue with it. The only concern I had was the same one I said, I think at the last meeting before, I can't remember anymore which meetings it is. But it's the concern for people and the plans that they made, either this year or next year. If you change schedules, I know people, at least folks I know, will plan things out a year, you know, or better, because you gotta lock things in. That being said, my only concern would be to be tolerant of those folks as they make plans if we're gonna change midstream. That's all.
Now, one of the things that can happen, as I recall, I mean, a kid isn't counted absent until she seats in the chair, right?
By definition. So,
You can't be absent if you've never shown up.
What about that?
that's what that's a good.
Yeah.
And I want to say consider, I mean, I want to consider it for the kids, but I also want to consider it for that. You know, we can create a career. It's all great. Correct, but
Yeah, there are gonna be some things that,
there will be people who aren't being friends. We saw that in some of the boy surveys and some of the family surveys. They like, my family, I do a 2 week this and that's I get it. We'll make sure we take care of it. In the end,
Probably easier to handle the fast side than I understand.
but you know, during that first intercession, if they are in whatever in Massachusetts and they miss that first, they can make it up. And I think every parent will realize, yeah, we make it up. There's a lot of tough thinking about here. This is I think it's a good idea. I like it.
as I told you, I was always a traditionalist. Always. And, but since then, I've known lots of people who taught in year-round schools, and I have yet to talk to one who did not love it. And I would try to talk them out. I don't understand it, but they do love it. You know,
I agree. Tim and Lynn have done it for ever.
I don't have any experience with it, so I don't know, but I'm grateful that we reached out to both the community and the faculty, and I was hoping to hear, you know, some feedback there.
Isn't this our one kind of opportunity to make this shift? I mean, because really you can't go to year round.
Yeah.
So if we either pull the trigger and get it or we don't get it.
Bill Swami said, no, never. If we're going to do it, this is time to do it. Because even as a district of innovation, they don't let you do this. They'll let you come back about as far back as we did. That's about as good. That's what, 2 weeks roughly? That's about as good as they're going to let you do it.
There's a lot more work to be done with.
yeah, because, right. Well, believe me, I'm praying for it.
That being said, you know, you guys might bless it, but just down and listen to you. I think I know what Mark's words are. We're gonna get the committee together and we'll talk through it. Maybe check the calendar for the week you make. And that if we're gonna do it, we pass. That's what I think we do. So people won't.
I will be gone Tuesday. So that's your choice.
You know what?
Oh, I can Zoom.
Yeah.
I can Zoom. Yeah, well, actually, it could help us on a lot of things. But anyway, this won't affect summer school as we've already planned it, correct?
The only issue, I know 2 of the campuses are doing, or have scheduled July next year, right? 3 weeks in July. So 3 campuses.
They're scheduled July summer school.
Yes, for into July. Yes. So if this happens, there's gonna have to be some,
Adjustment.
yeah, but.
It's all virtual.
Yeah. Make it work.
Okay.
If we march forward, we're gonna make it work. It's not a little inconvenient. The data and the feedback tells me that if we don't, then we take a look at it, argue with it, and we're not meeting the request of our faculty or the community. And the teachers I've talked to, they're all for it, right? So in the waiver world, it says, you know, I don't know, I'm trying to, because that would kind of be a waiver, kind of nothing. I didn't want to put that in a series of comments, because I wanted to make sure it's something we can talk about. So stay tuned on that one.
Okay. Wow, all right, that's a lot to absorb. We need to do a lot of reading, listening. Okay. Anything else in that regard? We don't have a closed meeting tonight, is that correct? No meeting going on. Okay. So we're moving on to item 13, personnel recommendations. Motion.
Make a motion to approve the personnel recommendation.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Morgan. All in favor? Good there. Right. Now we are at calendar. The board may set dates for special meetings. Looks like June 8th may be one. Is that correct? We're thinking 6 p.m.
Week of June 8th.
The week of June 8th.
That's that week. I think next week we can have the calendar committee do our South East together.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
I have an answer hopefully from the PA if this is sustainable. Like I said, all bets are off in my opinion, and in the opinion of the South East. If it's not something we just continue.
Well, yeah.
Hope I have an answer. And we can
We have enough to think about that. Just doing something for the fun of it.
Yes.
All right, agenda items for June. Members of the board may submit requests for information to be considered at the regular June board meeting. We're down to announcements. Superintendent.
All right. I just mentioned a minute ago, summer school. Our campuses have that going. No junior high school event. Start off with that. No acceleration this year. It's going to be basically all that recovery. There's just too much going on. Our students want to get acceleration. There's other ways to do it. That online opportunities. Summer programs. UIL gave us some guidance last week. It's going to look strange out of the way for them out on the fields this summer. But it's better than now. Don't know how to coach and do all that. They're going to prepare with teams. Everyone else can do all the stuff here now. So they make it happen. Boys and Girls Club had a talk with Ms. Parents yesterday. Of course, this is going to be tough on our families too. We can't hold homework on the programs here. The Boys and Girls Club activities. They are going to that degree with campus. 60 kids. They have allotted of those 60, 20 to 5 people. Now that being said, that was nice of them. So what we're going to do in the next few days, they're going to provide a bus in the morning and in the afternoon, and have the kiddos be here if they want. We'll shuttle them to, and that's basically a bus full 70 passenger buses, 20 capacity, and we're going to shuttle it into the club at Greenwood, and we'll shuttle back in the afternoon. But it's first come, first served. And I know in the past, our city last year provided for us probably 100. At the beginning of the rest, but 20 is better than nothing. So hopefully we'll have some families that can take advantage of that. Here of us is, I wanted to kind of throw something out there. This is kind of coming from the call, but we're looking ahead with the city. We thought it was going to start in November. We thought it was going to start in February. And it's never started. It's June. But we know it's going to start because we're going to fund it. The job's on the line somewhere. All the work back here. That's going to have a huge impact on our morning, especially if we have to do these buses the way we might have. So, trying to come up with a plan. Looking to the pastor in the morning. They're walking in the rooms of the shut up in the church. He was all for it. He was going to have to do a lot of planning. Talk to the attorney as well. He said, obviously, we're going to have to put staff out there. We're going to have lanes marked. We're going to have a mask put on. Buses this way, parents this way, and make it safe and secure. But we're looking at an option to probably, it's not called the Walmart Express. We're gonna shuttle kids back and forth. And I think that will help alleviate traffic. Gotta do something, especially if there's stuff to work out here. And then maybe even look at a Flower Trail Drive option. Churches there or something over there, I don't think they'll mark on that. We could find that, maybe part of it. So there's something there that we're thinking about. We have to name that one something else to we'll get that around the evening. But that's something we're looking at. We're gonna put it in the year parent survey. I will on that and see what the parents think at the end of the year. And what the faculty thinks, obviously, the parents think we're gonna put that in there. In addition to, what I'm about to talk about next, what I'm calling the ABC plan. A is coming back as business as usual. What we've done since the 1890s, Bluff ISD. That's what we're going to do coming back. I think we can all agree as of today right now, unless a miracle happens or something crazy happens, that's not happening. B is the hybrid plan, which our says school starts tomorrow, this is what we'll be doing. And I don't know exactly how it's going to work. I know we're looking at CDC guidance, feeding kids in classrooms, keeping kids in cohorts with X amount of numbers, half days, sanitizing everything. I think that's what's going to be an AD situation or a half day situation. You know, a kid comes in, gets your breakfast, goes to class, we give them a grab and go, and that's illegal. But they're going to have to it might take a while, but they're going to have to get some flexibility. And then the second round of kids comes in, gets the grab and go, goes to class, eats. First, while after it's been sanitized, take a 30-minute break. And then option C is what we're doing in the last 2.5 months. That being said, I don't know where we stand, but in that survey, I want to put out to the parents. I want them to give us feedback. What do you feel most comfortable? He had already told us. No more attendance exams. No more penalizing kids. If they want to learn from home, they get to learn from home. And no matter what, we know we're going to have to provide this service. We do something more. And if you watch the news this morning, my 4 segments, I'm kind of going on YouTube. The last segment, I sold the district. We're open for business. We want you to come get a $5 warrant. We'll take them on. If you want online, I'll transfer paperwork on the website. So with all the gloom and doom that release everything, my opinions in the back end, still think something good will come out. I don't know what. Maybe if something like that comes out of this, we can get 2, 3, 4, 500 kids under our umbrella learning, under our teachers, the best teachers in the world, the best kids in the world. Something will do.
So really, you're looking at a B and C.
Yeah, I think
A's out. B and C. B is the hybrid. There are probably some students that need that, and then we have the C program as well. So we're going to have both. That's what we talked about last.
Yeah, and I just but I want to see what the parents.
Yeah.
I want to see what they're because I work in some of the comments. Teachers, and understand you're high risk and that thing's still out there and it's going to be out there for the foreseeable future.
Well, during World War II, CCISD, which was not with CCISD, but the Corpus Christi schools, did the half day because they had so many kids here for the base. They had kids everywhere. They were doing half days. So they made it work. And let's remember, it's during wartime, the generals are born, I'm just saying. We're at war.
We are indeed. That's all I had on my superintendent comments. That's all I had. And I've asked the man, James Crenshaw, to join us for a few minutes to talk a little bit about graduation and what it's going to look like.
When we get our gowns, just before. Okay. I didn't want to get. All right.
I did tell the lady this morning, I said, Check the radar, is 20% chance of rain next one yet? Graduation.
Yeah, that was a great one. That was a great one.
We're getting ready to graduate, so those future demos.
Yeah.
So, first of all, I'd like to thank you for letting me speak tonight, and thank you, Dr. Freeman, and it was an awesome opportunity to get my slack still there. So it was a win-win today. Dr. Freeman and I have been working hard together about graduation, and early on, we made a commitment to these kids, that we're gonna have a graduation. We didn't know quite what that was gonna look like, but, I really appreciate, Dr. Freeman's support for that, and we're gonna have a graduation. And it's gonna be as close to, our tradition as humanly possible in this environment. I told Dr. Freeman, about 900 guests, 420 graduates with no practice. What could go wrong? You know, so our motto though really is, you cannot overplan. This has to be really planned out. And there's language that I sent to Dr. Freeman that the lawyer's looking over, and we got to do all these things. But I really think the pictures are worth 1,000 words. So right off the bat, and it's a little bright, I hope you can see it okay. Right off the bat, what we decided that we needed to do was separate the graduates by alpha, so that half of them are coming in one direction and the other half are coming in the other direction. So the very first thing we did was we developed a parking scheme where A through L is going to park here behind the ECC, come in this way, and then M through Z is going to come in through this way and they'll park here and here. Now there'll be more detail in this map soon, because we've already considered all the things like ADA parking and all of those things. But this in general is the start of separating the students and the parents, cutting them in half so that we can have a flow that will allow us to be socially distant. Other thing I want to say real quick, Don Youngberg, our staff, maintenance and technology and all that. I mean, I just haven't had so much support in my life. They're out there with major intakes, and we're getting it done. Everybody is on board. So this is how we're going to park. If you can go to the next slide. We've talked about how we're going to staff it, and basically we're going to overstaff. We have a schedule that has 8 police officers. They're in red, and then we have our what I'm calling ushers here, and then at the gate. And if you can conceptualize this, that first group of students and parents is going to come in this way. They're going to have to attest to their health and sanitize their hands, and they'll come in. And so we have the staff set up that I think is going to be able to handle this. Okay? So I just wanted to quickly show you that we thought through the staff, and it's going to be about 20 individuals that it's going to take to get it done. If there's not any questions there, we can kind of move to the next slide and I'll start showing you the flow. Anybody have any questions about staff? Okay, so next slide. Here's how it's going to work. Your parent needs a ticket. This year, the ticket is their grad. So we thought about tickets and handing out tickets, and how do you hand out tickets? They got to set still for 72 hours so they don't have COVID-19. Just doesn't make sense. We're also not having a practice. So I need the parents' help, right? At practice, you know, we really work with students about shaving and how you're going to look and all of those things. And when we have practice, we threaten them within the inches of their life if they don't come like they're supposed to come, and we have all that. We don't have that this year, but I'm really counting on the parents. So here that is how this is going to work. Parents A through L are going to come in that way. Immediately, the parents are going to head for the visitor side. The student will be ushered and come out here to the field. Conversely, parents M through Z are gonna enter here, and right away, the student is gonna break off and come to the field, and the parents will come to the stands. So let's talk about parents for a minute. We're gonna fill the stands from top to bottom and left to right. We've already been out there with a measuring tape. There's 4 feet for your seat, 2 people, and 6 feet for social distance. So it's all gonna be all marked off, and they started marking it. And we'll start filling from the top down, and from the top down, and fill it like a snake. Same with this side. And we did some great thinking about if you're first in all this, you better get that seat right. So they're gonna make a little bit of a long trip, but if you're first, you start here and you get filled up and you go here. ADA for the alpha will be here. So the wheelchairs, anybody that needs to be here will be there. Then the students come in and they're gonna be ushered in. And we have the top 10, we're required to not have more than 5 folks on the stage. So the top 10, unfortunately, this year, they're not going to be able to be on stage. So we wanted to honor them in a way that would kind of have them be in their own role. And they're going to still participate in graduation. Everything that you're used to seeing, the welcome, the invocation, the benediction, the speeches, they're all going to be live. We spoke with those parents and gave them a chance to opt out if they wanted to record that instead. And it looks to me like everybody wants to do it like we do it. We've made arrangements to make sure that we're going to sanitize between all the speeches and et cetera. So we've got that set. We're hoping that the sound system is going to be good, and Alex and them have worked with me a great deal. You know how usually we share one mic? Well, we're going to have 4 mics. So I'll have a kind of a designated mic that you and I might share, right? And then there'll be another mic on one side, and then there'll be 2 mics over here, so that I don't know if you remember, but sometimes the kids like to do the welcome together, 2 of them, you know, or they like to do the farewell together. Well, I can't have them standing beside each other. So we're going to have those 2 mics. Secondly, we need those 2 mics because our readers will come up and read, and then the reader will come up and read on the other mic while we're sanitizing that mic. So we've gotten 4 mics, and believe it or not, it was super important to get 4 mics so that we can get that done. It's going to look fairly normal. Our stage is going to be here. The center of the stage will be on the end here, and unfortunately, I won't be able to really set you guys right dead center, but we're talking about putting chairs here, like two rows of 4. And then 2 rows of 4 over here for any other staff and our readers. So we're going to have kind of an extended stage so we can get around the rule of 5. You know, we'll have probably about 20 people here. They'll be spread out enough that we're going to be legal. We're setting them right on the middle hash mark between each 5-yard line, which allows the yard line to be the student's walking line. If they walk on that line, and we're going to teach them how to do that, they have well over 6 feet on both sides of them, and then they have well over 6 feet laterally when they sit down. This is going to allow us to do come up and get your diploma like you're used to seeing, like parents are used to seeing. Okay? So that's generally how we're going to get them seated. Doesn't look too complicated. Say it real fast. Okay, next slide. This is just generally how the seating ceremony is, so we don't need to stay there. Next slide. This gets a little bit more complicated because we're going to have the stage here, and our top 10 is just going to come up and receive the diploma and go right back to their seat instead of circling. Then the next line will begin to circle and come up and get their diploma and come here. And we're going to, of course, have staff here helping guide them back into their seats. When they come to the gate, they're going to have a number like you were at the booth, A5 or M3 or whatever, and we're going to guide them straight into their seats. So we'll have all that marked off. This is the plan for how we're going to give diplomas and get them back into their seats. Now, unfortunately, since we don't have a practice, the whole pomp and circumstance in the beginning and a recession in is not really possible. So what we try to do is, if you show the next slide, what we try to do is develop a recessional. So at the end, these students are going to leave, and these kids here in the green, their parents are here, right? So we still have plenty, and this is not really to scale. I need to move this a little bit so we have our wheelchairs here. So I'm going to adjust that a little bit. These students will come, they'll walk down, come around, and be able to go right past their parents here, right? And then out, as my dad used to say, from whence they came. And the blue is going to start here, and they'll feed out and be able to go around their parents and out the door. We're really concerned about, parents want to get together with the kids, give them love and congregate and all that. Unfortunately, we can't congregate. So what we decided to do is instruct the kids to go back to their car. And the parents don't get to get up until the kids have left the stadium. Then we'll allow the parents to leave, and they'll leave in the reverse snake that they came up in, go out to their cars and finish up. I think the next is just a big aerial view of the entire scheme. So to get this all done, Don's going to have to move buses. We've got a lot of work to do and a lot of marking to do and all that. That's not very in-depth explanation. There's a lot of details. But I thought in general, the pictures will let you kind of know what our flow is. And we're going to have a great match.
Yes, we are. Thank you so much. That is an amazing thing that you've done for our kids. I mean, what a lot of work.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. It's kept me busy. It's kept me doing new synapses. And all of that. It's been really good. And this team, I haven't had one person go, we can't do that. It's, and really the community's coming together. There's a local shop that said, hey, we're going to rent you the flowers and stuff for free. Just do it. So the community is just really coming together. We're going to try to make that look like you're used to seeing it with some plants out there,
Great.
and et cetera. So it's going to be a great graduation. It's not going to rain.
No, it's not.
And we're going to make the community proud and kids proud. They deserve it.
Thank you so much.
We're still going to live stream this, I think.
We are.
Okay.
We are.
And as far as provisions, I was just looking at the layout. I know it's big. We have kids all the way at the back in the end zone and the other area, this is the field. From where the stage is. And it's a long distance. Are we going to have any televised, if you will, or video on boards, or is that not practical?
We really don't have a jumbotron.
I know.
And I haven't asked for one yet. And after we talk about the money, I don't but there really is no way to do that. But we are going to be able to stream it,
What I was going to suggest is maybe, one of the options, and I know this may be a technical issue from the IT department is if you wanted to, you could give them the streaming information as well as provide them some Wi-Fi access if they needed it.
So I can check the balance and see if that's possible, so they can watch it.
Yeah.
Well, in fact, that's possible, really.
It's on YouTube.
It's going to be
I
YouTube.
understand that.
So we're gonna send out the link.
Yeah. So the majority of people will be able to have their own Wi-Fi down there.
Yeah, we do, but
A lot about data plans.
yeah.
Why can't we?
We'd have to work on it.
Yeah. Put some temporary Wi-Fi hotspots out there. This may be a stretch, but I'm asking the question to see if we can get something in place where people can actually, people have. I know Amarillo School District did that with their buses. I don't know if you saw that, where they actually had Wi-Fi at buses that went out and sat in certain areas. The kids actually came up and used those Wi-Fi hotspots during these.
We can check them out and see if that's possible.
I don't know.
Wi-Fi already out there, I just don't know what to do. Any questions, concerns?
How are you doing
I'm, like I said, there's a big 3-page narrative that after tonight we're going to send to parents. And what I'm relying on is goodwill and cooperation. And it's not cliche. We have the world's greatest community. We really do. And Dr. Freeman and I, we made a few concessions to the students. I'm a real stickler about Oxford hats.
Yeah.
I don't want them, right? So basically, when I come down to the parents, I'm gonna say, look, I'm gonna ask your student not to throw their hat. So decorate it this year, you know? But the bottom line is, if a hat goes off, which you may, or there may be 400 hats go off, you don't know. We'll pick them up and we'll store them for 72 hours as COVID-19 requires and try to get them back to the river. The only other thing I was remiss in saying was, we thought real long and hard about this whole getting a photo. And so, Don Youngberg, working with us, we're gonna have a table and there'll be a plexiglass here. And I'm gonna be on this side of the plexiglass. The student will be able to come up and receive it from them. I won't hand it to them, but then we can step together and kind of take a picture. And there'll be a little seam of plexiglass so the kids can get their regular shot as much as possible. So our motto is, let's make it as close to what our traditions are as possible. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
It is going to be great. Thank you for all your work. We appreciate it.
Yes. Thanks for allowing me to talk about it, Frank.
Okay. All right. Any other? Okay. Dr. Needham, we're going to start with you on comments.
Well, wow, I just continue to be amazed at our administration and faculty's flexibility and adaptability. And looking forward to graduation. It'll be good to get out and see some folks for a change. But thank you all for all you do.
Thank you for everything and what challenging times.
Well, on another graduation note, I know there's a community parade Saturday night for the seniors. Is the school involved? Did they reach out to you at all?
We are not involved with that parade. There were too many variables about how that might be. So we're happy that they're having a parade, but we didn't get involved in that way. I know you guys might have noticed that we put pictures up for the seniors. So we had 420 pictures out there. It was amazing when we go and come pick them up. Well, only about 10 kids did come pick them up. So, and we've given them some love. It's a little bit of a surprise. But we're going to try to give the top 10 some love here in the next few days and do some things to keep them motivated. But we're not going to participate in that parade.
Thank you for that. All right. Morning.
I tell you what, very impressed with everybody's job that y'all done. Thank you for bringing us the numbers and we look forward to looking at budget and what we do like. David had a hell of a year in the first year. I'm looking forward to seeing our new plan on this next year. Got a great team with it, the teachers. Like I said, we have the best teachers, wonderful students, and I look forward to graduation and working with all the summer and forward.
I agree with the administration. I have a picture for I love it. I saw him on my first and like taking the photo for me at Tom. I got fun with this. So thank you, and it's so good to see you all here.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. As I said before, I can't think of a better time to be a Hornet because this is an amazing place to be. And I'm sorry that other people can't be here, but they can because we do have a transfer policy that is open to everybody. And y'all are awesome. You're awesome. And before I forget, because I almost forgot, training for the board will be online June 24th through the 29th. And we're going to get Monica to sign. I'll just go ahead and get us all signed on.
You go in and take the classes. And that will get, you've already done the 10 years. That'll get you all of your required training.
You can knock that out. You don't have to go to on that note, I'm just so proud of all of you. I'm so proud of you. And so let's just keep praying that all goes well and that we have slight breeze. All right. Motion to adjourn? 25? We are adjourned. Yes. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Needham.